If you get nothing else from a Christian video, I need you to get this, that it is your duty and your requirement to open your own Bible and to read the Bible, to understand God's character, to understand God's nature, not to understand a single scripture, not to understand popular scriptures, not to understand the things that you've heard spoken in church, but to read the Bible, to know God and his character and what he desires and what he seeks and what he's looking for, and when he comes back, who he's taking. Psalms 50 debunks a lot of what you're seeing that's being taught right now on social media by saying it doesn't matter if you're living a life in sin. If you've given your life to the Lord and you believe in Jesus and you believe in the finished work on the cross, then you will be saved. Psalms 50 out of the mouth of God debunks that. Psalms 50 is talking about how God is going to get up. He's going to come to the earth. It's going to be fire that goes before him. It's going to be a tempest storm around him. He's going to call from the earth. He's going to bring his people out so he can judge. And then he speaks to the righteous, and then he speaks to the wicked. And the wicked are not people who have never, ever, ever known God, tried to live for God, sought God, accepted God. Because it's in the context. Psalms chapter 50, verse 16. But to the wicked, God says, what right have you to declare my statutes or take my covenant in your mouth? Does an unbeliever declare God's statutes? Does an unbeliever know the covenant of God in his mouth? No. Seeing that you hate instruction and you cast my words behind you. Meaning it doesn't matter anymore. That's the Old Testament. That's this. That's that. Nothing matters. Just believe on the finished work of the cross. Nothing else matters. You cast God's words behind you. When you saw a thief, you consented with him, and you have been partakers with adulterers. You give your mouth to evil, and your tongue frames deceit. You sit and speak against your brother. You slander your own mother's son. These things you have done, and I kept silent. That's a little scary, because a lot of people are believing that stupid fake doctrine because they're not being rebuked or heavenly afflicted by God right now. Because God is just sitting there to say, are you going to seek me? Are you going to know me for yourself? Or are you going to believe everybody that's telling you that you can just abuse my grace? He said, you thought I was altogether like you. Don't y'all remember God's ways are not our ways? His thoughts are not our thoughts. Verse 22. Now to those who forget God, consider what I'm saying, so I don't tear you in pieces. Verse 23. And to him who orders his conduct aright. To him who orders his conduct aright, to him who orders his conduct aright, to him who conducts himself in a righteous manner, I will show the salvation of God. That does not sound like I can live in sin and still see God. That does not sound like I can reject God's principles and reject God's moral character, and I don't have to address habitual willful sin in my life. That doesn't sound like I can just get up and just pursue the world and forget God. That doesn't sound like I can drink from the cup of demons and the cup of the Lord at the same time. That doesn't sound like I can freely and willfully cuss out my brothers and sisters, gossip and slander about my brothers and sisters, not feed the homeless, not do right on my taxes, not seek the Lord with my whole heart, not do the things that God has called me to do, not love the Lord with my whole heart. That doesn't sound like I can just live my life for myself just because I believe on the finished work of the cross and then I will see God. That sounds as if for those who forget God, for those who seek the world, for those who make themselves friends of the world, become enemies of God, and therefore are classified with the wicked. But those who walk upright, those who pay attention to the steps of their feet, those who say like Job, I will not make a covenant. I've made a covenant with my eyes that I will not look on any evil thing. Those who set their face like flint to follow the rules and the laws of the Lord, not as legalist, but as one who knows God and one who knows his character and one who knows that he has said, be holy for I am holy. And one who knows that he has Jehovah Sitkanu, the Lord our righteousness, to help us and to clothe us with righteousness and to keep our feet from stumbling. Though one who gets up and submits himself to God and says, I will walk in your precepts today, not under the dictates of my own heart. That is the one who walks aright before God, who will see the salvation of God. Psalms 50 makes a clear distinction. God is going to get up, God is going to come back, and God is going to take those who walk aright, because those are the ones who will see the salvation of God, not the one who just presumptuously thinks, because I said a prayer and because I believe wholeheartedly that Jesus did come to the earth, Jesus did walk the earth, Jesus did die on the cross for my sins, and all of my sins have been forgiven, but you live in a manner that continually crucifies him. You're not going. It's in Psalms 50, and it's found everywhere else in the Bible. But you're listening to itching ears. You have itching ears and you're listening to deceitful tongues. You're listening to people lead you to hell. You're listening to people lead you into tribulation, great tribulation. Get to know the Lord for yourself. Call upon the Lord and you shall be saved. Seek his face and you will find him. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall be open. God will reveal his scriptures to you. He doesn't want anybody to perish. He doesn't want anybody to be deceived. But if you're being a lazy Christian, and you are getting your doctrine from TikTokers, and you are getting your doctrine from friends that in these little groups that they're encapsulating themselves around you and entangling you in and making you feel guilty if you think any other way, that is a flag on the play. Read your own Bible.